This New Balance shoe costs around $160 and this Skechers shoe costs around $80. So how is there such a big price point difference when they look relatively similar? They're both Max Cushion shoes and they're both best sellers within their own range. I'm going to break down the key differences in these shoes so you know at the end of this video if it's worthwhile spending the extra money, what influence it has on your feet at the end of a long day, and how a Max Cushion shoe affects you in the long term. Let's take a look at the New Balance Movi 6 first of all. It has one of the best cushioning on the market with the Skechers Max Cushioning. Now that feels really soft, really plush underfoot, so you get that immediate step in comfort that feels like the cushioning wraps around your foot, and it continues all the way up to the forefoot when you go to push off. So a really comfortable feel throughout the whole shoe. Whereas in contrast to that, while it still looks like a Max Cushion shoe, the Skechers actually has a very firm cushioning underneath your foot. So when you initiate contact with the ground, you feel that resistance very quickly. And that influences what you feel when you walk and when you stand in it for long periods of time. Because the profile of the shoe is very different than the New Balance. When you think about rocker bottoms, that's the curve on the shoe that tilts upward at the front. You can also get it at the back a little bit. And you can see it's much more prominent in the New Balance than it is in the Skechers. Now that helps roll you forward as you walk, improving the efficiency of your walking, reducing the amount that your calves have to work, but it is worth keeping in mind, if you reduce the workload in one place, it increases the workload elsewhere. So often a reduced workload in your calf increases the amount of workload higher up towards your knee and your hips. As a result of this, it's important to keep in mind if you get discomfort in any of these areas, because the profile of a rocker bottom can really influence it. Moving down towards your foot, having a better rocker helps to reduce the pressure on your forefoot, but the flexibility of the shoe plays a big role in this as well. Now, we have a much more subtle rocker in the Skechers, which means that it may not feel as efficient or as easy or fun to walk in, but it does feel more like a traditional classic walking shoe if you're used to wearing them as opposed to wearing what looks more like a running shoe compared to a walking shoe. Now, underneath the shoe, you have an extremely wide platform on the New Balance, much wider than what we get in the Skechers. Having a wide platform underneath your foot increases the amount of contact that you have with the ground, inherently making the shoe a lot more stable underfoot. Other features in a classic neutral shoe that increases the stability are things like sole flare, and that's where the cushioning comes out wider than where your foot sits in the shoe. Again, increasing the amount of contact that you have with the ground, and you might have more side flare on one side, and that helps to provide resistance to push your foot in the opposite direction or stopping it from moving excessively. So historically, you might have shoes with lots of classic arch support pushing up into the foot to try and reduce pronation moments. In more modern shoes like the New Balance, we have wide-based support, sole flare, and then sidewalls, which is where the cushioning comes up, wraps around your ankle, and helps to keep it centered in the shoe as you move. Skechers, on the other hand, is a very classic fit in terms of having direct arch support underneath your foot, which you can really feel pressing up into it. So if you're someone that enjoys that with a firmer feel, then that's maybe a better option when it comes to this element. However, on top, they're completely different shoes. So we have a very wide fit and a relatively snug fit in the midfoot on the New Balance, so excellent if you need space for your toes to display. We have a more narrow fit on the Skechers, so that's not ideal for those of you with a broader foot, with bunions, Morton's aroma. You're not getting the space in there that you need, but it does have a much higher heel to toe drop compared to the New Balance, so it's almost double of what we get in the New Balance, which is good for offloading the calf muscle, but can put extra pressure on that forefoot. While in the New Balance, that lower drop gives you a nice even distribution of pressure across your entire foot, so that broad base and the low drop, excellent if you stand for long periods of time. Now, what difference does this make when you're walking in them for long periods of time? Well, the increased support, the rocker bottom, means that it's more efficient and a little bit easier for your foot to move in for a long period during the day. The Skechers, on the other hand, give you a very firm feel, rigid arch support, a slightly narrower toe box on top, and more of a classic feel in terms of an old school walking shoe. It's not as efficient. Some people may prefer that older style, and for people who have balance issues, sometimes they have difficulty adjusting to a lower drop shoe, often because they have ankle arthritis or tighter calf muscles, which means that they can't adapt to having their foot flatter to the ground, and the higher drop in the Skechers can be more beneficial for that. If they wear insoles, having a built-in arch support that's already there in the Skechers makes it less ideal. Better option in the New Balance, as it's got a flatter base to pop your orthotic inside rather than the insert that comes with the New Balance. Then when it comes to forefoot conditions, wider toe box, stiffer in the forefoot in the New Balance by a country mile, therefore giving you lots of protection if you've got metatarsalgia or you've got big toe arthritis. So overall, when it comes to walking for longer periods of time, you have a slightly heavier shoe in the New Balance, but you're getting better quality of cushioning that's more durable, a better toe box, a wider platform, and a better forefoot rocker. However, if you're used to a higher drop shoe, a firmer cushion underneath your foot, or you want arch support, you're actually getting better value in terms of the Skechers Max Cushioning Arch Fit. In addition to it, the slip-in feature means that it's really convenient just to slip in and go, whereas you've got a classic lacing structure in the New Balance. So personally, I think it's not whether one is better value or not. You're still getting good value in the Skechers if you fit into that niche range that really want a particular type of shoe. But overall, for the majority of the population, it's worthwhile spending the extra money on the New Balance because you're getting a better overall comfort, better fit, better rocker, and a more durable shoe over time. However, if you've tried any Skechers or New Balance in the past and you had different experiences, let me know in the comment section below. You got links to both shoes in the description if you want to check out the latest prices of them on Amazon. We've got monthly newsletter which gives you updates on the latest shoe releases, but also what's the best value shoe for sale at the moment. You can subscribe to it in the link below in the description. Otherwise, if you watch the channel regularly and you haven't subscribed, please do, as a single thing you can do for free that makes the biggest difference to our channel. Thank you very much again for watching.